at the state of Uganda's intensive care unit.
People are there outside trained to come and serve. Why are they not recruited?
Who saves lives when machines break down and staff are missing?
We need more nurses, but we would also need other specialists.
Tonight,
we have one staff quarter, which is supposed to accommodate only 2 people.
we also bring you the shocking plight of Rangara Health Center workers who save lives but share beds.
Ndoroka also asked for a Jafanga truck to load some criminals on the truck.
Cost of entertainment to rise as the new 6% tax takes effect after President Yoweri Museveni signs income tax amendment. We tell you who pays the 6% entertainers tax.
This is NBS Live at 9 with Samson, Kasumba and Sheila Tusiime.
It is Sunday and we will definitely have Dr. Daniel Chabainze, Director Public Health. And we will have a very huge conversation on the state of public health in Uganda in a week in which intern doctors finally get to walk home with $1 million shillings or thereabout. We want to be sure that our public health facilities are where they have to be. Sheila is in very good mood, so am I. And for that reason, we kick off the evening, shouldn't we?
Yes, we should.
Fantastic.
We start with political analysts that have warned that Uganda's renewed fight against corruption could be undermined if institutions mandated to audit government and fight corruption are themselves implicated in corruption. The warning follows an investigation by the Office of the Auditor General into 27 auditors over alleged corruption and other misconduct, with 4 officials already interdicted. The analysts say the development raises concern because corruption is often syndicated with multiple actors within different institutions, potentially working together to facilitate and conceal the wrongdoing.
In recent months, the government has renewed its fight against corruption and abuse of office, with several officials suspended from different government institutions. The investigations have now reached the Office of the Auditor General, where 27 people are being investigated and 4 have already been suspended, raising questions about the effectiveness of the anti-corruption drive. But as the crackdown intensifies, there are also allegations that some institutions mandated to fight corruption may themselves have officials implicated in the vice, as the Minister of Works and Transport, Fred Byamukama, recently claimed.
There are individuals in the investigation agencies who are weak. Someone steals like 5 billion, just pays off 1 billion. These are also individuals. The reports are killed there and no one asks for them again. You find the only person who has authority to ask for those reports is the president. So
political analysts say the government auditors routinely interact with individuals accused of corruption, raising concerns that some irregularities could be shielded or overlooked, as former leader of opposition in Parliament, Wafula Ogutu, explains.
If you did the forensic audit of each auditor, or most of the members of the auditor general, you will find that they have wealth they cannot explain how they earn them. Everybody knows that the auditors who work in agencies and ministries and departments, they become part of that and they are bribed.
Wafula Ogutu says the government should subject auditors and other public servants to forensic audits, including scrutiny of their wealth and assets.
We could do an audit, a forensic audit on all auditors. Let them declare their property. Let them first look at State House. Again, most of the people I've seen working in State House are wealthy. Also do a forensic audit on them. And the president should be discouraged from this money he throws around all the time.
Political analyst Dr. John Paul Kasuja says the fight is complicated by what he described as institutionalized corruption, where even agencies mandated to investigate the vice have officials accused of benefiting from it.
Know who will tame them and who will trap them. So what they do, the corruption starts with them. It goes to the Auditor General's office, it goes to police, CID department. So when you come to look for those culprits, every government agency will go in. There will be a way of what is actually, or what took place. So a thief cannot be in a position to fight a fellow thief. All people are corrupt.
He says the government needs tougher laws and stronger punishment, citing countries such as China to demonstrate its commitment to fighting corruption. Dr. Kasuja also says continued pardoning of people accused of corruption and failure to make firm action against them undermines public confidence in the fight.
These anti-corruption agencies you see, they are all corrupt. But what happens is that they instigate a system or an issue for those who are culprits to eat with them. So, and the system works like that. So in this government, if you are not corrupt, you are the odd man out.
Political analyst Professor Mwambusi Andebesa says the mother of financial corruption is political corruption. Therefore, there is need for political audit, not a financial audit first. However, the government maintains that no individual will be spared in the renewed anti-corruption drive, pointing to the suspension and dismissal of several senior officials, including heads of government institutions.
Quite a number of people picked out there.
27. That's
27.
a huge number.
Why 27? Couldn't it be another number? Amid the intensified anti-corruption drive led by local government minister Balam Bargahara, questions have since lingered over why he was chosen and whether his claim of executive barking does hold any truth. Finance Minister Henry Musasizi says the president and the NRM caucus endorsed Balam Bargahara to lead the campaign. While critics suspect political motives, supporters argue that this campaign could dismantle entrenched corruption networks within the ruling NRM.
And I want to caution you, when you are talking about Baram, be careful, because he has all the blessings of the president in what.
This was the finance minister, Henry Musasizi, sounding a warning against corruption while addressing accounting officers in Kampala. He also urged them to take seriously the anti-corruption campaign led by the local government minister, Balam Barugahaya, confirming that it has executive backing. But with the 32 cabinet ministers, 50 ministers of state appointed to serve during the 2026 to 2031 term, questions linger on what could have informed the choice of Balam Barugahaya to spearhead the campaign. Some political analysts and serving politicians believe the decision could have political undertones.
So he's dismantling the NRM's corrupt network and hoping that they will install a new network at the grassroots for the PLU. Now, that is management of politics.
Balam Barugahara comes out as a man who has been organizing a bivuru. The NRM is benefiting out of it.
It's wrong for somebody to allege or to assume that we are just using Honorable Balam for purposes of future politics. That's wrong. We got a 72% in the previous general elections for president before Balam started this kind of exercise.
According to the Inspectorate of Government, Uganda loses approximately over 10 trillion shillings every year to corruption.
Balam is just another political mercenary that is executing a scheme that is meant to serve his political master.
But regardless of the intentions behind the campaign, political analyst Leonard Egesa questions the manner in which Balam are conducting the anti-corruption drive.
The right approach to fight corruption is very clear, even to a young child. It is institutionalization. It's not pageantry.
But we are kind of a government that don't hide our weaknesses. We know there is corruption. We must fight this corruption as an NRM government.
Uganda already has several institutions mandated to fight corruption, including the Inspectorate of Government, the Office of the Auditor General, the Directorate of Criminal Investigations, and the Directorate of Public Prosecutions.
Now tonight on Live at 9, we'll bring you the story of Patrick Odong, a man who survived an LRA ambush in early 2000s while on his way to Kitgum district in northern Uganda. His vehicle was struck by a landmine and he was shot more than 12 times. Today, he lives with 7 bullets still lodged in his body. Unable to work as he once did, his struggles to provide for his family, a burden made even heavier after his wife left him because of his condition.
Upon arrival at his home, we found Patrick Odong in the garden struggling to weed his cassava plantation and maize. From afar, you could tell Odong is in pain as he narrates what happened in the early 2000s when he met a LRA ambush.
Their target is me in that vehicle. By the time they are shooting, they shoot 9 people were dead. So me also, they shoot me.
Odong narrates how he was shot several times and how he survived the landmine, on the fateful evening.
By the time I reached near to that, then I see the hole in the road. I said, what is this? Kumba, it is landmine.
From his hands to the legs, he shows us some of the bullets that remain in his body.
So this bullet is the one who is going to kill me. Because 2 bullets have already passed from here. The second bullet passed from here. This one is the 3rd one. The 4th one is here. I've entered here in my legs. And after now, as I'm talking, it is here also. I've entered here. Even you see, it is now inside the bone.
Still carrying the landmine fragments in his body, he is now slowly losing his sight, a lasting effect of the blast.
This side cannot see well. That's why I turn this to this, at least to see. But when it start wearing, also it will bring some pain.
Having undergone several operations to remove some of the bullets from his body, Odong is struggling to fend for his family, with the wife leaving him 3 years ago.
Even the garden I have, but I cannot dig. I have about 10 acres. But I don't want to sell even that garden. My children, where are they going to dig? Where are they going to stay?
Odong is one of the 1,000 who still bear the scars of the LR insurgency in northern Uganda, a 2-decade conflict that left deep physical, emotional, and economic wounds that many survivors continue to live with today. The Lord Resistance Army was a rebel group led by Joseph Kony that operated in northern Uganda, waging a prolonged war of attrition against the government.
You got a feel for that guy,
yes,
and
definitely.
what he has to put up with. But let's talk taxes, shall we?
Definitely.
Okay, the new tax measure is set to change how musicians, masters of ceremonies, DJs, and other public entertainers are paid. The Income Tax Amendment Act 2026 now requires a 6% withholding tax on gross payments to public entertainers, with the responsibility to deduct and remit the tax placed on the person making the payment. The tax experts say the measure could affect the cost of staging concerts and events, and organizers and entertainers must adjust to the new requirement.
For years, Uganda's entertainment industry has operated largely around negotiated performance fees. But a new provision in the Income Tax Amendment Act 2026 is putting a tax deduction directly into that transaction.
The withholding tax is a direct tax, but we shall see a scenario where entertainers will start bargaining in net pay. And when they bargain in net pay, then organizers might charge highly on the entrance fees. Nonetheless, the entry fee might remain constant depending on the type of the entertainment. Maybe the sponsorships available, the estimated profits they anticipate to make from the engagement, as well as the bargaining power of the entertainers.
At the center of the income tax amendments is Section 135B, which introduces a withholding tax on public entertainers. In simple terms, the person hiring or paying the entertainer is required to deduct a 6% from the gross payment and account for it as withholding tax. For example, where an entertainer is contracted for 1 million shillings, the withholding deduction would be 60,000, leaving 940,000 payable to the entertainer before any other applicable considerations.
The introduction of withholding tax of 6% might, in one or the other, increase the pressure on the cost of organizing public entertainment events.
The law also casts a wider net on who qualifies as a public entertainer, covering people performing in public or before a camera or microphone, including performers at public events and those working on stage and digital entertainment. Tax experts say organizers therefore need to understand the requirement before entering into contracts with entertainers, while artists need to know how the deduction affects their actual earnings.
We shouldn't only focus on the tax burden of the 6%. But we also shift our attention on now entertainers being vigilant on what they are offering.
The measure is part of the broader push to bring more income-generating activity within Uganda's formal tax system, including an entertainment sector that has expanded beyond traditional music and stage performances into television and digital platforms.
But rather it is an advance tax payment on behalf of the entertainer, which therefore means that when that withholding tax element is deducted, it is remitted under the tin of the entertainer, which will act as a tax credit that can be offset when the entertainer is filing returns at the end of the accounting period.
And with the new law now in force, tax experts are warning musicians, MCs and other entertainers to not simply inflate their charges without understanding the tax obligation, but instead ensure that the deduction is properly factored into their contracts and payments.
The arts industry, it is high time it started preparing their artists from shifting from how much are you paying me for singing, instead what is my intellectual property and commercial rights that you're buying if I'm to perform on a given event.
Now, health workers at Ringa Health Center 3 in Toroko district say poor working and living conditions are crippling service delivery and endangering their lives. More than 15 staff are squeezed into a dilapidated two-room quarter, with some forced to share beds or sleep in shifts while parts of the ceiling are collapsing.
This is the only staff accommodation at Ruangara Health Center 3, a facility serving Kanara sub-county, one of the areas heavily affected by floods. The health center serves thousands of residents, including flood-displaced communities, living in camps, making the presence of health workers critical to responding to the community's health needs. But the two-room staff quarter can barely accommodate the health workers, with some sharing a single mattress. One of the staff members, whose identity has been concealed for fear of repercussions, says the situation has left them struggling to get adequate rest while exposing them to danger.
We have one staff quarter, and which is supposed to accommodate only 2 people, but you find us occupying it like around 15 staff, and you find us sharing rooms with females.
Chitakule, not real names, says the situation has been worsened by the dilapidated state of the building, with parts of the ceiling caving in, forcing staff to abandon one of the rooms.
The issue of safety here still is also a challenge to the facility and to us as staff. We sleep in shifts, some sleep day, the other one sleeps at night.
Another health worker says some staff are at times forced to sleep in facilities wards when patients' numbers are low, exposing them to potential health risks.
We do also sleep in wards. We sleep at ward because we have no enough space.
The concerns have reached the Ministry of Health, with the Commissioner for Reproductive, Maternal and Child Health, Dr. Richard Mugahi, promising to raise the matter at the ministry's strategic level.
That's really an issue for Ministry of Health, which I've picked up very well. This is a hard-to-reach area, very hard to reach and hard to stay. So priority will be given.
Meanwhile, the Minister for Local Government, Balamba Rugahara, who has been conducting an anti-corruption campaign across the region, says poor service delivery in districts including Toroko, Bondibujo, Kasese and Winyangavu is partly linked to corruption and misuse of public resources.
So I'm told in Toroko their problems seem to be much. Maybe when coming to Toroko, I'll also ask for a Jafanga truck to load some criminals on the truck.
Rukochi General Hospital in Kasese district is grappling with severe congestion in its maternity ward, which handles at least 20 deliveries daily and more than 600 per month. However, the ward has bed space for only 20 mothers at a time, with patients who develop complications requiring prolonged admission occupying the limited beds. Newly delivered mothers are often forced to rest on the floor.
At Rukochi General Hospital, the maternity ward is operating under increasing pressure. On an average day, the facility receives and delivers at least 20 mothers, while monthly deliveries exceed 600. But the available bed capacity tells a different story. The existing ward can accommodate only about 20 mothers at a time.
That maternity ward, which is 20 bed capacity, we always deliver a minimum of 20 mothers per day and a maximum of 30 mothers per day, for which like 15 goes through cesarean section.
For mothers whose conditions require longer hospital stays, beds remain occupied well beyond the day of delivery. This means that by the following day, some mothers are still on beds, leaving newly admitted and post-delivery mothers with limited options.
Sometimes we have so many cases, floor cases in the maternity ward, because of the overwhelmed numbers of mothers we handle. Because when we have 20 bed capacity and then we deliver a minimum of 20, it means every day the 20 beds are occupied fully. But beyond that, there are those who delay there because of the complications encountered during deliveries. Now also we have overwhelmed numbers of waiting mothers.
In 2024, the construction of a maternity ward commenced at the facility at a tune of 1.2 billion shillings. The hospital administration had hoped that the new maternity ward would provide relief. Unfortunately, the project being undertaken by the UPDF Engineering Brigade has stalled for about a year.
The government gave the first phase of 400 million and additionally added another 300 million, and that amount of money, which is around 700 million, pushed it up to the wall plate.
The Kasese District LC5 chairperson says the funds for the construction of the stalled maternity ward had already been released by the government.
We are reliably informed that government had already given them money, and we sat as a district leadership, and both the commissioner and the honorable member of parliament promised they were going to follow it up, and we are expecting that it is going to yield results.
Muhindi says the district has also written to the permanent secretary in the Ministry of Health, drawing attention to the stalled works and the urgent need to complete the maternity ward.
We had already written to the PS, Ministry of Health, reminding them of the work that had stalled at that place, and we hope 6 are going to be worked on.
Once complete, the new maternity ward is expected to accommodate approximately 100 mothers at a time, more than 6 times the capacity of the existing ward.
Once this building is finished, we expect that building to accommodate close to 100 mothers, because it is a modern and well-improved facility. It has 4 wards in it.
Now, government agencies from the Uganda Human Rights Commission and Insurance Regulatory Authority to the Petroleum Authority of Uganda and the Uganda Registration Services Bureau are embroiled in bitter leadership battles over succession, authority and alleged corruption. Analysts warn that these boardroom fights for control of institutions managing billions in public funds reflect deeper systematic failures, including unclear mandates, competing power centers and weak accountability.
Imagine that a head of institution could be bullied.
The explosions are happening at the top, and increasingly they are spilling beyond the boardroom.
Now the trouble was that the rest of the commissioners complained. Why are we excluded?
At the Uganda Human Rights Commission, a leadership dispute involving the chairperson Mariam Wangadia left MPs questioning the authority and functionality of the commission. At the Insurance Regulatory Authority, the succession battle between former CEO Ibrahim Lubega Kadunabi and the board escalated into court and parliament after Kadunabi challenged the decision to renew his contract, while Protasio Sande took over as acting CEO. At the Petroleum Authority of Uganda, another succession contest is simmering as Ernest Rubondo approaches the end of his tenure, with Ali Sekatawa and Fred Kabanda emerging as contenders for the top job. At the Uganda Registration Services Bureau, an internal boardroom rupture escalated into corruption allegations, with the Inspector of Government ordering an interdiction of the Registrar General and other senior officials. At UEDCL, the leadership storm resulted into the removal of board chair Lydia Chengobo, while managing director Paul Mwesigwa was sent on forced leave, followed by further changes in senior management, raising questions about what could be driving these recurring confrontations. Political analyst Dr. Fred Serunkuma says the problem goes beyond individual personalities.
And I want to say that this confusion is part of a larger crisis. The crisis of management. The crisis in ministries where, for example, you find that every single ministry in this country has a duplicate in State House, which is even more powerful than the actual ministry.
He argues that multiple centers of power and unclear reporting lines create fertile ground for institutional conflict.
So you have a spectrum, a multi-layered power center sort of administration that the people holding these positions don't know their mandates, don't know where so-and-so stops in the organigram.
But the Member of Parliament for Bubulo East, John Musida, points to another fault line, the boards themselves.
Most board members would wish, whichever, whoever and how he is, they would wish to have their own. Somebody, especially chairpersons of the boards of such entities.
Serunkuma says the stakes become even higher where agencies control substantial budgets and operate in lucrative sectors.
So every single institution that you see, there is a plethora of vultures and hungry hyenas looking at these institutions asking, how do I get to line my pocket from these particular institutions? The Insurance Regulatory Authority, UEDCL, the Petroleum Authority. All these are potentially money-making institutions.
Trouble is also what we call greed.
And when leadership fights consume institutions, it is ultimately the public that pays.
The loser is the wananchi, right? But you need to see that the wananchi has been at a perpetual loss.
This endemic must end. How does it end? You Ugandans raising up. Ugandans raising up. The way the Balaam factor.
From succession wars to corruption probes, the pattern raises one fundamental question. Are Uganda's public agencies being weakened by the very power struggles at the top that are supposed to make them accountable?
More to come, brought to you by
Global Paint! How? For the seeding, for us we use Global Mat.
Global Paint, a reliable product.
Access unsecured loans of up to 500 million Uganda shillings plus 6 months of free banking. Ku NCBA Bank, Chigwa Kuwerere. Visit any NCBA Bank branch today and unlock the momentum your business deserves.
NCBA Bank, go for it.
Fixing Uganda tonight looks at the healthcare system. Uganda's ICU system faces critical gaps. That is the intensive care unit systems. And one of the reasons we have to have this conversation is you, I, Sheila, or anyone else, God forbid, could end up in one of these facilities. And that's the reason for which we'll have Dr. Daniel Chabainze, who is going to join us this evening to have a very honest and candid conversation on these matters. All conversations on fixing Uganda are honest, they are candid, they are brave and groundbreaking.
And balanced.
Can I have a light, please? What is this?
Castor light, the best testing light.
Try it.
Try it, try it, try it. Da, 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 da.
Guys, look at this post.
Nothing hits like extra cold. Castle Light. Try it.
Boro, boro, boro. Mami!
Wanje sabo.
Ugamotia. Wina kachi. Ha. Kagulinzi tekako. Teka kagulinzi. I want everything, eh? Okay. Yes. So, when I pay the time, this will increase my loan limit. Hey, Hemutieni Momo. Madam, remove the food. Put more meat. Add the meat. Yes. Hey. Now, these are the fruits of paying your loan is in time.
That's right. Every time you repay your Momo loan on time, your loan limit can increase, giving you access to more money when you need it most. Dial *165*5# to borrow, pay back, and grow your limit with Momo loans.
You have juice?
Yes.
Juice in me.
Hello, Mr. Mukasa.
Hello, how are you?
I'm okay, sir. Are you the broker?
The original one.
I was told you have very good rentals.
That is right. How many bedrooms do you want?
I want 3 bedrooms.
Okay, did I tell you of the price?
Yes, of course. 500,000.
No. This side, the salary went a bit high.
Why?
Because the paint we use is of good quality. So the place gained the value.
Which paint?
Global paint.
How?
For the ceiling, for us we use Global Mat. And for the inside walls, we use Global Silk Vinyl.
Okay, tell me about the outside walls.
Outside we use Global Weather Coat Emulsion so that the walls don't peel.
I'm really impressed. The precision you put while painting, I'm willing to pay any amount.
That is true, because here for us quality is paramount and the place becomes humidity.
Global Paint, a reliable product.
We're not made to be alone. It's baked deep into our DNA, driving us to connect. Because we know that when our tastes are as diverse as our world, the world becomes a magical place. And that when we experience life with each other, everything changes. As the world's #1 vodka, all we do is about that. From shaking up cocktails to a taste for everyone. We've been doing we since 1864. Smirnoff, we do we.
Why pay for someone else's repairs? Say goodbye to hidden costs and hello to peace of mind of a brand new start. Discover the Suzuki range of unmatched fuel-efficient and reliable options. From the iconic Jimny to the new Across Hybrid. Find the perfect blend of style and world-class efficiency. Upgrade today and enjoy 1 year of free fuel and comprehensive insurance, plus 2 years of free service and a 3-year warranty. Trade in your current car or choose financing to start driving as you pay installments. Don't wait. Visit the Suzuki showroom today or call 0800-211-033 to get started.
Every business begins with belief. The belief that tomorrow can be bigger than today. But waiting to be paid should never hold ambition back. With NCBA Working Capital Solutions, unpaid invoices become opportunity. Because some ambitions build more than businesses, they build futures. At NCBA, we bank on belief, empowering ambition with tailored financial solutions built around your business. Whatever your next move, we are here to help you grow. Access unsecured loans of up to 500 million Uganda shillings plus 6 months of free banking. Kwa NCBA Bank, Chigwa Kuwerere. Visit any NCBA Bank branch today and unlock the momentum your business deserves.
NCBA Bank. Go for it.
Uganda Warigi has been part of our biggest moments. One spirit, one pride, one UG.
Is that a UG? Yes, it is.
Is that a UG?
Yes, it is.
Well, if it's UG, let's go cheer. Uganda Warigi, the spirit that binds us.
Welcome back, and we officially start with fixing Uganda. He who has health hope, and he who has hope has everything. But how many live with hope that the healthcare system will save an emergency case? Ugandans are surviving on care from at least 6,779 public health facilities, while others survive on 3,064 private, for-profit and not-for-profit, according to the Uganda National Health Registry. But the major and recurring challenge equally lies here. Commitments are made, facilities built, but the staffing for critical care is leveled at 99% understaffing, with machines breaking down due to shortfall in maintenance budget. So what happens when you fall critically ill and all you can afford is a government hospital? Tonight in Fixing Uganda, we tell you the reality you fear, the state and status of the intensive care unit.
Uganda's healthcare sector presents a stark contrast between a heavy, evolving disease burden and a severely constrained public health budget. The over 45 million population poses a growing demand for healthcare services. However, government funding remains significantly below both international targets and national operational requirements. Uganda allocates between 6% and 8% of its annual budget to the health sector, falling far short of its 15% commitment set by the African Union Abuja Declaration.
Thank you so much.
In the financial year 2025-2026, the health sector received a historic allocation of 5.87 trillion shillings, which later reduced to 5.23 trillion shillings for the current financial year 2026-2027. Mulago National Referral Hospital is the face of Uganda's healthcare, and currently it is referred to as Mulago National Specialized Hospital. Hope to many at the verge of dying and others rehabilitating their lives. The numbers are getting overwhelming. The hospital faces a staff shortage averaging at 43%, yet burdened by referrals from across the country, according to the Auditor General. It is operating with 1,327 staff, way below the required 2,334 personnel.
You reach a point in time whereby you need the care and the nurses don't care.
This week, Fixing Uganda is in the intensive care unit. We look at the state and the status of the ICUs in the national referral hospitals, regional referrals and the general hospitals, and the glaring health gaps.
You have a patient who needs probably oxygen, and they tell you that the cylinders have no oxygen. They go bring a cylinder, it has no oxygen. But remember, this patient is fighting for their life.
Mulago Specialized National Referral Hospital has a bed capacity of 44 under the intensive care unit. 27 beds are under the adult ICU center, 2 in the organ transplant unit, and 15 pediatric ICU specialized to children health needs. While the number is sounding, admission has been conditioned to availability of an ICU bed. But is it just the physical bed?
The total bed capacity for this unit is 27, but we are only able to admit 12 patients. Yes, so admitting a patient depends on the availability of space. If there is no space, then we cannot admit the patient here in ICU.
Marcel Obongonyinye is a father and husband to a young family. His firstborn child, Carlton, is a registered mortality at the Mulago National Referral Hospital. He needed critical care, but 2 questions are looming. Is it resources or laxity?
When they told me that we need to take this boy to ICU, the follow-up statement was, but it's 200K. I'm like, it is okay. They're like, okay, let us go and prepare. The doctor comes back and says, there is no bed in the ICU.
So in that process, we start saying, okay, what do we do? Should we look for options outside the facility? Said, okay. So my wife makes phone calls. I also make a few phone calls. I call. There's one hospital I was referred to. They tell me, you need to pay 5 million before entry. Said, okay. Then my wife says, no. We have a facility. They are ready for us. I've already talked to them, so we need to evacuate the patient to that hospital. Then they tell me, okay, we have an ambulance, but it has no driver.
This condition is biting and is deeply biting. For a parent, it's even more devastating. Exchange from one cylinder to another. But how much could life hold on until it vanishes?
But in that moment, his heart, for me, I was just waiting for them to tell me, you know what? He's not made it. Then he comes back with another cylinder. It had the oxygen, so they put him, I push him. That's now about midnight. At about 2 a.m., the doctor walks out. He tells me, Daddy Carlton, we are trying, but I don't know if he will make it. Yeah? Then he tells me that even the machine that we were using has run out of oxygen. So we are using CPR.
The Auditor General's report for 2025 details functionality of the intensive care unit and theatre equipment. It states, for the last 5 years, Uganda has delivered ICU equipment to 15 regional referral hospitals, 3 national referral hospitals and 7 general hospitals worth 150 billion shillings. This included heating, ventilation and air conditioning systems for ICU and critical care equipment for newborn ICU operations. The Auditor General rather confirmed a worrying state: unreliable power supply, non-functional diagnostics equipment, inadequate oxygen supply and inadequate maintenance budget. For any intensive care unit, the World Health Organization guidelines recommend that the ratio of a patient to nurse has to be 1:1. 1 nurse, 1 patient. And in some circumstances where it is more critical, it has to be 2 nurses per patient. In Uganda, that continues to be different. 1 nurse could be required to deal with 4 patients at any instance. That is the setup of the critical care in Uganda, and that remains to be the bigger question. How is the healthcare unit in Uganda? How exactly is the intensive care unit in Uganda?
Because even those 12 patients, you may find I have only 3 nurses in a shift. So if you divide 12 patients among 3 nurses, so that means that each nurse is handling 4 ventilated patients. So just look at it, that this nurse is not at the patient bedside at all the times, because she has to do this bed for some time, then go to the next one, go to the next one. By the time she comes back to the first one where she started from, you may find maybe eventuality has already happened in this patient, because she's not constant on the patient. She's manning 4 patients at a particular time.
You can receive 10 consults in the day for 1 bed. So you have to determine, of all the 10, who is likely to benefit for that 1 bed. And that is the person whom we shall pick and take on.
An audit covering 16 regional referral hospitals and 5 national referral hospitals revealed acute personnel shortages exceeding 90% across all critical care cadres. Specialist positions such as principal nursing officers in critical care suffer from 100% vacancy rate, while senior consultant intensivists face a 95% deficit with only 1 post filled out of 20 approved positions. Across all specialist care roles, hundreds of key medical and nursing positions remain unfilled.
We need to get to the root cause of what is happening. People are there outside trained to come and serve. Why are they not recruited? And those who you have recruited, you don't show interest in them that they are useful. We become a taxi. When they pick somebody on the road, once you enter the taxi, that's all. You are no longer important.
This is the gap. Senior consultant intensivists approved positions are 20. Only one is filled, leaving the 19 positions vacant, a shortage of 95%. Consultant intensivists are expected to be 24, but only one is currently recruited. 23 positions remain vacant, causing a 96% shortfall. Medical officers, special grade intensivists are approved to be 43, filling only one position, leaving 42 positions vacant, a percentage of 98. Critical care medical officers are approved to be 60 in number. Only 2 are recruited, causing a gap of 58 officers and 97% deficit. Principal nursing officers for critical care are supposed to be 17 personnel. However, none is recruited, causing a 100% gap. Senior nursing officers for intensive care unit position filled are only 3, yet required is 68 officers, a shortfall of 65 personnel, a 96% gap. The nursing officers who also offer crucial support in the ICU are operating with a gap of 91%, with only 28 nursing officers recruited out of the approved 302, leaving 274 positions vacant. Assistant nursing officers' positions filled are 28 out of the approved positions of 335, leaving 307 positions. Respiratory or biomedical technicians approved to be in these ICUs are 12. However, one position is filled, leaving 11 vacant and 92% shortfall.
Don't we have specialists in Uganda? We do have them. Where are they? They're in private service. Why? The motivation, the living conditions, the welfare. They also have families like everyone else, you know. So why are we closing those eyes? We have them.
Dr. Charles Sendikadiwa is an intensivist and head of Mulago National Referral Hospital Intensive Care Unit. His lamentations are not restricted. The healthcare system worries him too. His call to action is loud.
We thought we were going to learn from the COVID, but we didn't learn. Because COVID was an eye-opener for the problems that we face with the ICU. Every hospital in Uganda, every health center had at least an equipment of an ICU to support the patients. Guess what? They are all down. Why? Why are they not working? Why are you eyeing only on Mulago for ICU when Naguru has, Chirudu has, Kawempe has, Jinja has, Mubende has? They should utilize all the centers, recruit the responsible people to serve.
The call for staffing in the critical care unit leaves many tearing. Health rights activists from the Center for Health, Human Rights and Development, Fatia Chiangi, questions whether the government is prioritizing. Fatia, quite upset by the current mortality levels in the country.
Are we auditing the people who are dying in all those critical care units? Dying for reasons that the specialist is not there.
The fear to get sick and end up in the critical care need causes distress among Ugandans. The executive director for Mulago National Referral Hospital, Dr. Rosemary Byanyima, sometimes runs out of options.
So at times, like the thoracic surgeons, the gastrointestinal surgeons, or the neurosurgeons may cancel a list of cases because there's no free ICU bed. So you see what that means to an ordinary patient who actually, the attendants will start making phone calls and saying, oh, I think these people need money, to be bribed to put me on the theater list. Not knowing is because there's another bottleneck.
Is the Uganda government aware of how the ICU system is in need of critical care? Many questions are unanswered around Uganda's healthcare gaps. The government auditor has highlighted damning facts. 5 regional referral hospitals, including Hoima, Jinja, Mubende, Fort Portal and Kabale, lack adequate backup generators and switching systems, leaving critical ICU equipment stored and uninstalled. Key diagnostic machines such as X-ray machines at Entebbe, Hoima and Jinja regional referral hospitals is broken or unserviced, limiting timely patient diagnosis. 3 regional referral hospitals, including Mubende, Fort Portal and Kabale, suffer from non-operational oxygen plants and incomplete pipeline networks, restricting oxygen availability.
Are we really prioritizing health?
There's a lot of unseriousness at the facility with the late night shifts. They have no urgency. They have no speed. They have no remorse.
The Human Resource for Health Strategic Plan for 2020-2030 and Operational Plan states that there are only 2 to 1 physicians per 10,000 people, less than 10% of the ideal 23. Surgeons 0.7 per 100,000 people, psychiatrists 0.14 per 100,000 and extremely scarce. The doctor-to-patient ratio in Uganda is 1 doctor for every 25,000 people, falling severely off the standard set by the World Health Organization of 1 doctor per 1,000 patients.
We need more nurses, but we would also need other specialists. And we've actually made an appeal and written to finance, requesting if they can give us like an extra 9 billion. Then would recruit critical staff, but then we shall go back to them because the staff will need what to use, because we need more medicines and sundries, more money for equipment maintenance, because we shall be recruiting more equipment to be functional. So there are other dependencies, but of course, starting with human resource. Because even if I had the equipment, if I don't have human resource, I can't.
Government has made good commitments in terms of improving health and well-being of Ugandans. Some of these commitments are actual on paper, but translating those commitments into action is where we have a problem.
Doctors are praying, citizens are wishing, but who is listening?
Sometimes it's really tough.
Questions, one after another.
You put the question marks of who is to blame.
If you are in the news room from 6 to the following day at 6, do you perform effectively?
The Uganda National Household Survey conducted by WBOS 2023-2024 out-of-pocket health expenditures account to 30 to 40% of the total current health expenditure, with the least household spending at least 32,000 shillings. The Economic Policy Research Centre, EPRC, reports out-of-pocket expenditures of over 10% of total household consumptions are impoverishing people.
I see every time health system and education falling apart.
It's a cocktail of critical issues. Dr. Rosemary Anyima explains that the National Referral Hospital suffers shortages, including of critical essential medicines, due to the pressures from several referrals, with a maintenance budget of 4 billion contrary to 13 billion, the reason some machines may go unoperated. What would it take Mulago National Referral Hospital to fully function with all its machinery?
Our budgetary requirement as a hospital to fully run and not ask anyone to move out to buy anything would be, for medicines and sundries, would be to the tune of 100 billion. So if I'm receiving about 30 billion, then that's way below, and I have to find ways and means of making sure that I do the best within the available means.
Pillar 2 of the Uganda National Health Compact 2025-2030 looks up to strengthening service delivery capacity to increase access to people-centered services, but this is an extract from it defining Uganda's health system. And I quote, Uganda's health system is at crossroads. It has successfully built an extensive network of health facilities, bringing physical access closer to many. However, the system's capacity to provide true people-centered services defined by quality, equity, and financial protection is critically weak.
Sheila, my mother used to say,
of the framing of what you take to be the health system.
Yes.
First of all, for our viewers, we need to explain to them that the health system is organized in tiers.
Okay.
So you are now talking about from the level of talking about the IC, you are talking about the super specialist care.
Okay.
But for us, we want to start by the grassroots. We have primary health care where we give preventive and health promotion. Then we go to primary health care where we give preventive services, immunization. Then we measure our progress towards how many people are using our services, how many are not reached. Then we go to higher level of people who have serious illness that require our interventions. So those are the three levels. So if you want me to talk about the super specialist tertiary care, it's very different from what would, because we are 45, close to 50 million Ugandans.
Yes.
And the people who seek the high level tier of services are 5%.
Okay.
So all the numbers that we talk about, the 5% to debate the healthcare system, is probably, I'll start by saying, Uganda's life expectancy has moved from 63.8% 10 years ago. Now we are at 68 years. Every Ugandan born today is expected to live to 68 years old. In terms of where they seek care is a life course journey. So that's where we can talk about where are we now.
I must have got to be very careful with this conversation, because I have seen that means I will fall sick and ill, and I don't want doctors to think I don't appreciate their work because I will fall in their hands. Yes. So I understand all that, and I understand that the good work done by those of you who sacrifice to do what you do is the reason that life expectancy has expanded. But vote for yourself and make it very easy for doctors to make a decision on an ICU bed, whether it will be you who chose to be on a border without a helmet, or a young child, or somebody else. Is that fair to say?
That's a very good public health message. You are making a decision about your future life and how we shall manage you.
By not wearing a helmet?
By not wearing a helmet.
And making it easier for you by wearing one?
By making it safer for everybody and actually saving your life, because the majority of your capital is in your head. If your head is still functional, you can do many things to even make the money which can look after you.
Very interesting. I'm glad that message has gone home, at least in a very clear way. And I'll repeat it for you. Tomorrow or any other day, when you decide to sit on a border without a helmet, you're making a very, very reckless decision as far as your health is concerned. You have a staffing gap, and we understand the numbers. For instance, 95% for psychiatrists, partly attributed to failure to attract specialists. Why is it difficult for us to attract specialists? Or is it also because we don't build enough up?
Both your propositions are correct. Let me start with how we build up. Once we've trained people as medical officers or junior doctors, they need to be attracted to a service where they've had good mentorship, where we have sure we are going to train. We have a very beautiful facility in Butabika. It can attract and train future psychiatrists. But we're not attracting enough in terms of scholarships for them to go and do super specialization. So government should look at providing funding. We should, I'm government. So we should make money available for people where we have critical gaps, to give them scholarships to go and do their additional training, specialization. And when we do that, then we can say you must work for government for at least 3 years after that training. So we kind of call it bonding. So that where we have gaps like anesthesia, anesthetists can't go up country, yet we have theaters everywhere, and you can't operate without any. But majority, 80% of the top specialists are all in Kampala.
For very obvious reasons. So, what I'm hearing is that when a child has a good brain, we as government, or government, Ministry of Health, Parliament, should make money available because they have the head. We are the ones who need the head. We must make it available for them to get to be trained to become a super specialist. Isn't that money available? Or is it difficult to convince people that something that obvious is obvious?
What is obvious is that, first of all, we need to entice people to do certain specialists training. Psychiatrists, anesthesia.
Why is it difficult to get, do they call them anesthetists?
Anesthesiologists.
That word.
That word.
Why is it difficult to get specialists in that area, whether it is the super specialists or the nursing and everybody? Is it very difficult stuff to study?
I don't think it's very difficult. It is those who are practicing who can enlighten those who are yet to be trained. Because we do things where we're inspired or we're encouraged by somebody. I think the burden is on two people, the specialists themselves and government. Because you may tell me, oh, it's a good field to go in and I've liked what you do, but if no money is available, if all the slots are available for internal medicine, cardiology, oncology, and nothing for that special group, that means it will fall back and there will be few people attracted to do that. And I think we should be intentional in terms of those critical staff we don't have. Anesthesiologists and people doing anesthesia at whatever level, government, we must look for the money so that we ramp up the number so that we can functionalize all these health center force which have theaters. They can be lacking just one staff. Even if you had the 34 and you lack that critical one, it is difficult to make that theater work.
Very interesting. And why is it that quite a number of friends I hear, first degree, MBCHB, and then they veer off into public health. as opposed to the other specialists? Is it because that's where the money is?
Well, I think there's some
I'm trying
bit
to
of money.
dissuade a few out of public health into the specializations. But I'm doing masters in public health, PhD in public health. Is it because that's where the money is?
Can I say this? Conflict of interest. I have a PhD and I'm in public health. And I'm director for public health.
Yes.
Would I want more people to join me? Of course, yes.
But we don't have specialists.
Oh, we do have specialists.
In the other fields that we just spoke about.
Yes.
Why can't we convince more people out of public health into the other things?
75% of the diseases in this country are preventable.
Okay.
And we will need community health workers, health promotion, and public health specialists to veer us from having people crowd the hospitals, number one. So there's enough room for everybody to participate. But public health is also cheap to train. Do you know that? The others require a lot more money to train, a lot more specialists, hand-holding. I think public health is just a quick fix for people to help us keep working in the space. Okay. Not that we are not very important, but it is a space which is easier to train people to the highest level, quicker and cheaper.
Very interesting. I think
and we know how to encourage others to join us. I want people to do epidemiology. I want people to do biostatistics, and then be able to generate evidence for the people in clinics to manage the rest.
I am convincing somebody to join and become a super specialist. The only challenge is she's in P6.
That's the right time. That's the right time.
That's the right time.
To take her around hospitals to begin pointing to things.
I'll get her to talk to somebody in anesthesia, because I think that's where the gap is. Sheila, do you have somebody you can also convince?
I have so many.
To psychiatry?
Yes.
Develop one at home.
Yes,
Okay.
so many. Doctor, you have some questions for you here from the public, those that have been following the conversation. We start with Wandera Joel. What should a Ugandan reasonably expect when they walk into a government health facility today? Reasonably. That is from Wandera Joel.
So we do have what we call the bare minimum package. We do in the health facilities. When you walk in the facility, you can be going for preventive services or curative or chronic care. Let me start with the preventive. You are walking there to measure your weight and height, to know what vaccination is due to you, or where you're going to have a delivery. Those we want them in the health facilities and outreach. Mothers should deliver in the hospital. Mothers should go and have their antenatal follow-up, or you are going for a screening service. You are going to know whether you have HIV. People in northern and southern Buganda, you are checking your blood pressure. We've found that that is where it is highest blood pressure. So that will prevent you coming in the health facility already with a stroke and you need a neurosurgeon. Secondly, what illness you have? If you have infections, we'll treat you. We have diagnostic services, we have radiology and laboratory services to do more fancy things. You expect to see a nurse receive you, somebody to triage you and see you and take you to a clinician. And if you need to be referred higher, a doctor to see you, work on you if you need to have a cesarean section in a health center 4 and above, or to be taken back home if you don't need to be in hospital.
Okay. Daniel Ongom, doctor, if you had more money for the health sector today, what would be the first thing you would change?
Big if. Let's assume you're in heaven.
Wow.
Or you won a lottery and got, or had a phone conversation from Elon Musk. What would you do?
I'll take that to 2 things. One, to put primary health care centers, health center 3s, in every parish, so that we promote early screening, health promotive services for immunization, hygiene, and the other money, I won't give it directly to health. I'll take it to clean water and clean environment, because I want to turn off the tap